Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Senor Nerd Podcast. As always, I have here with me Ramon,
Hey,
Raul,
Howdy, howdy.
and we're here to talk about Demon Slayer Season 3, more specifically episodes 2 and 3. And man, I did not expect the action to escalate so quick on this episodes, but before we start, I kind of wanted to ask a question, and this one's going to go to you, Raul, just because I feel like you might be the right guy to give us an answer on this. But in your experience, have you ever worked with any kind of mechanical dolls, to try to get better at something? I'm just a little curious about that.
now I'm curious
I
too.
I have like trained with like dummies, but I've never worked with any mechanical stuff.
Okay.
I mean, close enough, I guess.
Yeah, so would you say that the dummy experience really helped you at what you were trying to establish your experience with?
Well, yeah. The dummies were like in army combative school, so so
Okay.
yeah.
Just for the heck of it, Ramon, any experience with any mechanical dolls?
Not dolls, but I mean, probably about 20 mannequins at once.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, what was his name? Greg, John, or I
Oh
forgot
yeah.
what his name.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh man. Okay, now just because you mentioned that, I got to mention like a minute. So me and Raul used to be roommates a long time ago, and in our house we had one mannequin. His name was Frank.
Frank.
Frank,
Yes.
Frank, named after I Am Legend's mannequin that ran away from Will Smith.
Oh God. Okay, maybe I did not expect this kind of responses, but I definitely don't think I've ever worked with any mechanical though. But now I'm gonna be thinking about it, for sure. But guys, let's get to it. Ramon, what did you think about episode 2 and 3? And if you want to start us off with just talk about episode 2 first.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know what? I guess we were start talking about this when we talked about the first episode. We were really excited for Demon Slayer to come back, and I think we were a little bit nervous because the first couple episodes, or that first episode and the second one too, started very lighthearted. Not a lot of action, not a lot of things going on. But I think even just starting into episode 2, you were getting a lot of the story that we were kind of trying to figure out, right? At this point, Tanjiro is at the Swordsmith village. He's trying to he's trying to get his new sword, and he's there, and he's finally having those interactions we wanted to hear, or wanted to see, where he meets up with a little kid who's protecting his mechanical doll at this point from one of the Hashiras. Who was clearly trying to he wanted the key so he could use the mechanical doll, which later we found out
Are
it
you
was a
talking about
training doll.
Tokito? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, Tokito, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's trying to basically bully this kid into giving him the key to use a mechanical doll. And so, there's this really weird kind of interaction going on that we don't know what really he's trying to get. And then kind of real quick do we find out that essentially he wants the key for this mechanical doll that essentially has 6 arms, 6 swords at a time, has 108 moves that he can basically replicate, build 300 years ago. And basically,
Oh my God.
this Hashira wants this doll to be able to train and get stronger. And so basically we have Tanjiro kind of coming up in this thing and basically steps up and defends the kid because the kid's getting bullied by this Hashira. Not in a bad way, but just, enough. But no, it was good. It kind of started giving you some of that backstory, which later led on to, you saw the Hashira in action. You saw him fighting that mechanical doll, which the way that the kid described it from like legends or his parents or other people in the Swordsmith village telling him this doll was supposed to be, it was made after an old warrior that apparently was super badass. And clearly, the fact that he can do 108 moves, that he's difficult to beat, that he has 6 arms, that it takes 6 arms to be able to replicate his moves. That's how crazy he was. That kind of set the pace. I don't know if you guys want to carry on from there.
No, yeah, bro. What did you think about the little boy that I was so excited to see more about?
No, yeah, and it's interesting to see that I guess the swordsmiths kind of start off like so young, because
Oh,
like
yeah.
there's like he's a kid and he's already wearing like one of the masks or whatever, and then it kind of gives me like Mandalorian vibes because like they never take off the mask, and then like it makes me wonder like how do they eat, or like do they have to eat on their own, or like can their family see their face, or like what's the
Hmm.
situation? But anyway, but yeah, like it was cool, and it's obvious that he's kind of like still in training, or he's learning how to uh do all of that stuff, because he was explaining how like he didn't want them to use it because he didn't want it to break because he didn't know if he was going to be able to fix it because it's kind of been passed down in his family, I guess. But yeah, and it's the same guy that Tanjiro had the dream about. So it kind of, and it looked like he did the sun breathing as well. So I wonder kind of how much more the doll kind of had to come into play, and then so what happened in the third episode kind of got me into it too. But it was entertaining seeing kind of how much of a stickler the kid was with the training as well.
I mean, you
No,
found
no,
some great things in there.
yeah, no, and you know what? I was talking about a different little boy. I was talking about the Miss Pillar Tokito, but I'm glad you referenced so much about like the actual little
Oh,
kid in the picture, the swordsmith, because yeah, you're right. He is a big part of the storyline. And like you said, it sounds like maybe his parents were either they might already be dead, hence the reason why like he's so worried about this doll breaking and him not able to be able to fix it because he has nobody to really give him the skills necessary for it. But that is cool, and I actually I did want to talk a little bit more about him just because I did find it so hilarious that when he was training Tanjiro, he really
Yeah.
doesn't have any training experience. So he was training him to the point where he was not feeding him, he was keeping him away from water, and I don't know if
Oh
that's just the
goodness.
best. Like I would love to, if somebody in real life try to train somebody that way, because to me it would just seem like every training session day after day would get worse and worse. But that was just kind of like the whole training montage with him and Tanjiro. I thought it was pretty entertaining. And you know, with Tokito, the Mist Pillar, I just kind of, I appreciated a lot of things that they showed us about him. I kind of, on my second watch, I realized that they did reference that he was one of the original descendants of the fire breathing technique users. Hence the reason why
Yeah.
he's kind of like so powerful. He's just a genius. If you want to compare him to like Naruto, he's almost like oh my god, I forget his name with the six palms. But he was just born with talent, and you can kind of see that when Tanjiro refers to him as like, hey, not only is he a little bit younger than me, he's a little bit slimmer, but yet he's overpowering me in every kind of way. So I thought that was really cool for somebody to be smaller, younger, and he's already at a level that we're gonna probably find out what exactly it means to be a descendant of the breeding clan, and then why he has these crazy abilities and powers.
And that's funny because, like, yeah, when you mentioned little boy, I also went straight to the little Smith
yeah,
village.
the
But
swordsmith. Yeah.
you are right. That was kind of funny to watch that interaction right away because Tanjiro does go to stop freaking Tokito, and then he does he's smaller, he's like skinny or slimmer than me, and he was so strong, like he didn't even budge. So it was kind of really like you said, it was a nice little. I think that whole episode was giving you like little glimpses, like very, very subtle information that it like you, Carlos, that you're kind of bringing that back up. You're like, oh yeah, crap, like that kid is probably younger than Tanjiro, he's smaller than Tanjiro, but he's already a Hashira. So that really goes to like prove. And then yes, later his crow, who's bragging for him, being all condescending, basically, that she's the one that basically tells him that he is a descendant of the sun breathing like technique and those people. So he's, I don't know, he was cool. I didn't think he was being like mean hearted when he was trying to take like the key away from the other kid, but it was definitely one of those things where I'm like, dude, he really wants to train with that doll. Um, one of the things that was really impactful about that episode for me too was this, that right when Tanjiro and the other little kid are watching him like train, right? He's being all smooth, he's being all good, and he's obviously like kind of giving the doll like a freaking run for his money. And he kind of not defeats it, but he basically does what he needs to do. He's done with his training, and they were so shocked that he was done earlier than they expected, because I think even the little kid said, oh, he should be done by like nighttime, and then they were going like mid-evening to go watch him, and he was already like walking away.
Yeah.
um and then by
So,
comparison, when Tanjiro eventually trained with the doll, like Tanjiro did something even crazier and ended up breaking the whole doll. So that was crazy to me.
yeah. And who he reminded me from Naruto, now that I think about it, it's Neji. I just think
Yeah,
they have very similar vibes, just the way they look,
Mhm.
how young they kind of are at this point, and just how strong he is. And it's the thing that I find funny about him is that anytime he does anything, that was really really funny because I think there are people in this world that kind of like give off similar vibes.
yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing about him is I don't know, I kind of, I guess I kind of get like trauma vibes because
Hmm.
like one, for him to be that strong that young means that he was like a demon slayer, and then like something must have happened that got him to join the demon slayer corps, and then to kind of see him in the second episode, and then also in the third episode, and just how like void of emotions he was, and to see how much he avoided kind of being close or caring about people or anything like that, kind of made me think that all he cared about was being better. He probably has some sort of goal that he has, and that's kind of been his sole focus, and kind of ignoring and anything about anybody else, and he's just focused on that one goal. So it was interesting to kind of see how he was, and then especially in the third episode, what he ended up doing to help
No,
out the kid.
no, absolutely. I mean, we learn a lot about these people that have become demon slayers, and we always find out there's some tragic story behind the reason why they became demon slayers, either because they want to avenge somebody that a demon killed or something happened to them very young. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the thing with Tokito, that we find out that maybe he had a family, maybe he had a sibling, and maybe they were killed in such a way that it just kind of put him in a state where he doesn't really have any emotions. It's a self protection kind of way of doing it. But that's interesting because I think when we do start getting to episode 3, you start seeing that he's all of a sudden kind of maybe being awakened by something Tanjiro said, or maybe something that Tanjiro inspired in him. So I am very, very interested to see that progression on his character, because dude, he's just so cool to me. Like, to me, he brings a lot to the table. Um, Again, I already feel like in this, we're in the third episode, but I already feel like we're in really bad shape just from what I'm seeing. I'm like, man, things are like really, really bad. Like, I don't know how much bad they can get, but things just seem almost like impossible at this point. But, again, Tokito's still running around, but, you do see towards the end of the episode that he has this choice that he could make. He could move forward and not save the swordsmith, the kid, from like being killed by that fish demon, or he could kind of like help him out and save his ass, but he's kind of like no, the leader of the village, that's my priority. And honestly, like, I would in a way admire that decision had he just chosen to get that child killed. But I did like the fact that something in Tanjiro that he spoke to him about sort of had an awakening in him, and he did rescue that kid. So I like that about him. I like that we're going to see a little bit more with him, and I feel like by the end of the season he's going to be a totally different person, hopefully.
Absolutely. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
and then yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it kind of gives me the vibes, kind of like with like other anime, like in My Hero, um, the like where the main character kind of inspires other people to change and become more. And we've already kind of seen that in Tanjiro, where like he inspires the demons, and he kind of like gives them kind of that release, or he makes it okay, I guess, in some ways that they're dying. But now I think this is really the first time that, or besides everything with his sister, and then the Hashira that one time that he got taken there, but it's like really the first like demon slayer, or maybe the second demon slayer that he changes the mind of, and kind
Yeah.
of starts influencing without really doing much to do it besides be himself.
Well,
No.
I know we're dying to get to like that third episode, but let's finish the second one. But essentially, then at the end of the second episode, really what does happen then is that you have like Tanjiro like basically going hard on this mechanical doll, right? Don't think about it too much. Really going ham on him. And then this is what I thought was kind of funny when I was watching the episode the first time. I'm like, man, Tanjiro, my boy, I forgot you were like a Spider-Man. Like, he's talking about
Yeah.
those threads again of the moves. That's just trying to analyze how this mechanical doll moves. And then all of a sudden, like, he starts talking about his sense of smell again. So, here's my boy Tanjiro really putting together the whole like the like strings. I forget what he calls them exactly, but like the
Streets of
strings, the
Destiny,
visions that
maybe.
he's
I don't know.
the
Yeah.
strings of destiny, and then along with his heightened sense of smell, he's basically sniffing out this doll's like moves. And I was like, dude, not impressed. I did laugh a little bit, and then I was like, okay, this boy is going like crazy right now. And clearly he gets to the point where he's basically surpassed the level where he basically is about to beat the mechanical doll, and he goes to decapitate the doll, and he has that moment of hesitation because he's so such a good person that he's considering the little boy's feelings because the boy said he couldn't replace the doll. And, before he even gets to make that decision, the little boy says, no, Tanjiro, go ahead. Like, just do it. Like, I'll replace him. I'll do whatever needs to be done
Yeah.
to put him back together. And that's the moment that I was really shocked by, right? He decapitates the doll, breaks it. And then you see that one sword hidden in the mechanical doll.
Yeah. No, yeah, no, dude. The thing with Tanjiro, I was sort of thinking about him and him training with his doll to like become a better swordsman. But something that I was thinking back as I was thinking about the battles that we've seen with him is he's never really especially when it's going against Upper Moon 6 or the Upper Moon's like the first, I think, the Spider Boy, and then when he went against the Upper Moon 6, like he was never really fighting them like one on one. Like he did, and he kind of like managed to make some moves on them, but nothing like, obviously with the Spider Boy he didn't manage to kill him. Then with the 6 Upper Demon, he sort of at the end had a lot to do with them defeating him. But if you think about it, it was always the pillars. Even when with Rengoku, when he was fighting during the Mugan train arc, like he's never actually fighting any of the Upper Moons himself. And I think that's interesting because in our heads he's just such a like gifted boy and he's so strong and he overcomes everything. But I think from what I can see, like he's never really had any interactions where he's fighting one on one with them. So to
Yeah.
me, it's like, okay, when are we gonna get to the point where we actually feel confident that Tanjiro can fight an upper demon, um, and stand his ground without having another pillar come in and help him out or save him? Because to me, like again, the show's always made a good way of making him seem like he's strong, but again, I don't think he's at the level where I can count on Tanjiro to defeat an upper moon by himself at all.
Yeah. And I got a question for you guys. So then, yeah, because like you're seeing how good he can possibly be. Because again, even the other Hashira, like the Hashira wasn't able to like. I don't know if he was gonna truly defeat the doll or that was his intention, anyways. But the fact that Tanjiro was able to kind of surpass at least that level of like skill in a sense of defeating, after like 5 days plus of training with this doll, he got to the point where he could basically broke it. But question, I just remembered as you were talking, Carlos, he had that moment where he was about to pass out because he hadn't been eating and barely drinking any water. And then he starts hallucinating that he's dying or he's dead and he's crossing that one bridge and he falls into the water. And then as he's falling into the water, he sees that glowing stone. I know you probably know, Carlos, but like Raul, do you have any idea what you think that stone is? And why that? Because after he found and reached for that stone in the water, that's when he like awakened and he basically was able to manage to like beat the thing. So like, I mean, stuff like that is what kind of keeps shocking me about Tanjiro. We just don't know his full potential whatsoever.
Yeah.
Well,
Honestly, I don't know anything about that river stone and what makes it
Yeah.
so special. To me, I just took that as another way for them to like show that he's unlocking abilities because that's how he unlocked it. And I didn't mean to call that, his ability to, see when to strike at the right moment is called the strings of destiny. That's just something that I threw out there. So I don't really know what his strings are called, but I know that was his way of unlocking the second string level, if you want to call it that, where he's now able to anticipate, where the opponent's gonna strike from. So I just thought that was just a way of them saying like, hey, this character's unlocked another ability. But I honestly don't think we're ever gonna get another reason why Tanjiro's nose is all of a sudden like continues to like level up in this show.
no, yeah, and then I kind of see it. Not necessarily that obviously that was a real like river, but it's probably uh, because I think somehow he descends from like the sun breathers, and that's kind of him slowly unlocking like sun breathing again and kind of getting to where that was or whatever. So yeah, kind of like opening like a gate in his ancestry of being able to get to his ultimate form of some
I mean,
kind.
I guess, yeah, you guys talking about it too. Absolutely. It kind of makes sense as a metaphor, but it's just to me, it's like such a weird, specific metaphor where it's like a whetstone, like a stone in a river. So, I mean, like, I don't know, maybe like Carlos for once, like perhaps doesn't know, or he's not telling us. But it's kind of cool. Like, no, I know, I'm just kidding. But I'm saying, like, what if potentially it's a different type? But no, I mean, you guys are probably right. It's just a metaphor, but it's just funny because every time he does unlock it, I feel like there's different ways. And this one just seemed a little bit too, like, physical in a sense of like it was a stone, a glowing stone, and I don't know, maybe it was a glowing hole out of the stones, but who knows? But yeah, that was cool because then after that he totally freaking crushed and decapitated the mechanical doll, discovering that 300-year-old sword.
No,
That was
dude, it's something
rusted.
that's yeah, that was rusted. Something that I wanted to say, Ramon, when you were saying about Tanjiro just being such a nice person, is in the
Yeah.
episode 3, you kind of even sense that from him when him and Tokido are in the room, and all of a sudden the Upper Moon 4 comes into it, and the upper form demon, he's kind of like he seems very weak, like he comes into the room, he's kind of like crying
Oh
and being
yeah.
like a little wimpy. And even Tanjiro, for a split second, he has to tell himself, like, no, do not take pity for this demon. Do not, you got to strike hard, strike fast, because this demon is very, very powerful. So again, that kind of shows you that even Tanjiro, just like he's always even like ready to like kind of like not think of the demon's perspective, but he's the for sure always feeling sorry for them and feeling like, hey, maybe there's more to you. And obviously he has a relationship with his sister that she's a demon currently. So I always wonder if like that's maybe another reason why he takes such pity on them, because maybe they kind of also just didn't have somebody like him to like help them out as they became demons. So it can be like a really tragic story. And I got a feeling this demon will have a very, very tragic story, because I mean, just the way he is, the way we see him, I'm like, why else would this demon show this personality where it's just so fearful and so scared and so weak?
Yeah, he wants to be vulnerable.
No, yeah, and then specifically because like after we saw kind of what happens when you cut off his head, so to have this like fearful kind of like always afraid as like the prime personality that's out whenever like everyone's a one, and then once you cut off his head, that's when the other personalities start to come out. It's I'm sure the backstory is gonna like hurt you in the heart, but I guess we'll see.
No, Ramon, do you want to talk about it all about the sword? I know you kind of mentioned that they find the sword, because I think that's the last piece before because I mean
Yeah.
that also ties the intro to episode 3. So I don't know if you have any theories about that sword. Like, Raul, do you have any theories about
I
what that
mean, I was
sword's going to mean
just
to the show?
I was just excited because again, being 300 years old, being hidden in this mechanical doll that kind of resembles basically this sun breather, also possible ancestor of Tanjiro, because he said how he dreamt of him, and then later that boy said that it could be just like a vision or kind of a passed down memory.
Yeah.
It's just all that intriguing thing. Like I don't even care to think about it more. I just keep like drooling about the thought of like, okay, tell me. But I just thought it was really fun interaction that was like what led into Tanjiro's Swordsmith coming back all huge and basically saying, I'll handle it from here. And he was just being so aggro that they thought that he was legitimately trying to steal the sword.
I didn't even know who he was because he was so buff and strong. I'm like who's that man?
It definitely took a second. I think they explained it later. Oh, the other guy, when he came back, like he explained it. He's like, oh, he's been out training really hard for you, Tanjiro, because he wants to be able to like perform and defend and like do all this stuff for you. And again, this is the power of Tanjiro, man. He made this guy be like extra buff.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. But then you know how to take him down, though. Tico.
No.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Ro.
Okay, and I will also say with the sword, like once they actually like open it up, at first I thought those spots and those markings, I thought that was blood. I didn't know. My first assumption wasn't that it was rust. I thought it was like it's blood, and it's like I don't know. I thought it was just kind of like surfacing like how that sword was used for like either some massacre or whatever. And then the other thought that I also had was, I don't know if you guys remember in the first episode that I forgot who brought up about like some secret weapon or whatever. And then that was also like my first assumption of this sword.
Most likely,
that secret weapon that they say exists in this place.
I mean, I think the secret weapon was definitely the doll, just because I don't think anybody knew about the sword, and I'm not even
secret.
Yes, I don't even think there was like I'm not really bringing any like manga spoilers into this. I just think that the weapon itself was a secret weapon, and then the sword just happened to be there. If I had any predictions to like who that sword belonged to, I would say it was probably the first breeding style user. And then Ramon, if Tanjiro is a related to the sun breeding, that means that him and Tokito could potentially be like cousins or distant relatives, because they made it a point to establish that Tokito is the one descendant that's true. So I don't know how they determined that and why they haven't been able to say like, Tanjiro, you're also a descendant, or why they're holding back on that. But it's interesting because I don't know about you guys, but do you guys ever have any memories of your past ancestors' lives? I definitely haven't, and I would love to one day get one for guidance.
I mean, I'm not even laughing because there's people who truly believe that, and people who always mention like in my past life, but honestly, and I can't honestly say that, and like what characteristics you have inside of you like really kind of basically make you think you were someone different in your past life. I don't know what could have been so extreme about me, but it's definitely fun living through Tanjiro and knowing that he has at least a birthmark that resembles someone else. I'm like, the connections are there, man.
No, definitely. I mean, I would love to like.
I don't have dreams. I don't have any weird memories.
You weirdo. Wait, you don't have dreams?
Not really. Like, or if I do, well, it's rare for me to have dreams, and especially for me to remember that I have a dream. So
Yeah.
it's
Because like I feel like if I ever do have dreams, it's always kind of based on me, and that just tells you that I probably think I'm the biggest thing in my own world. But I mean, like I would love to have like a dream, and it just be like, who was that person? Like who? Like it definitely wasn't me. I was following somebody that I've just never met in my life, and it'd be so cool if it was like in the past, and I could relate that to an ancestor. Uh,
Yeah.
but again, Ramon, like just like I don't want to like squash your theory about Tanjiro being a sun breeding descendant, but I feel like they're laying the ground to like say that no. Like I think that again, the whole point of the show is just to always say that like Tanjiro is just nobody special, and he really really is unlocking all these abilities just by training and trying to be the best and save his sister. I think that's what the show is trying to teach us. But again, would be cool if maybe they do say something later on about
It would be
how
the
he's able to.
most. Yeah.
I mean, how else is he able to do these techniques? I mean, you gotta like answer for that, right?
That's what I'm saying. That would be the most misleading crap in the world because you have the sun earrings, you have the birthmark, you have like these like dreams of him, like like you have everything, right? Like how could he not?
yeah, and you even have the dad doing that like Sundance thing.
Oh yeah, see, and we don't even know if that's him. That could have been a ghost. Tanjiro has experience with ghosts.
Oh yeah, with the
Right.
fox.
with the
Yeah.
fox.
Yeah, so I'm like, it's a. I mean, dude, Tanjiro is just like some crazy like
But
medium dude that we don't even know about. Like
dude,
some
it's all misdirection. Look, I'm holding a red ball. Like, where did the ball come from? Oh, look at this way. Oh, look, the ball's gone. It's
Where'd it go?
misdirection, guy.
Where'd it go? Guys, Cardinals just had a red ball. Now it's gone. I don't know how you did it.
Oh God. But let's talk. Now that we got into episode 3, man. I mean, what got you really really excited? I think there was a lot of cool things in the beginning, and also like I don't want to overshadow the 4 upper moon because he had more of an appearance, but even that 5th upper moon, oh my God, dude, like that, I do not want to come across that guy.
I mean, so obviously the demons were really exciting, and I really want to talk about the demons. But there was actually something funny that I caught, and I had a question about. And then I was at work, and I mentioned something to my boy Alexis, and he totally threw a spoiler at me, and I didn't mind it. But I'm not gonna say it on here just in case, unless we end up talking about it. But my boy Genya, right, the guy with the scars, Raul. So the biggest thing that was really, the Mohawk. Yeah. And the thing that really questioned, right, because in this episode, Tanjiro asked him, hey, what happened to your tooth? And he's like, what? He's like, yeah, you lost your tooth back there in the bathhouse. Where's your tooth? And then he has it again. And he's like, that didn't happen. And if it wasn't for my boy Tanjiro having his tooth, you would have thought that he was making it up. So I started believing something in my head. Carlos will definitely know, but it's maybe related to that a little bit. Carlos talks about his powers all the time.
Yeah. Why I said I think because he's not like my favorite, but I did say in the first episode review that we did that he's definitely has a special ability that's kind of cool. And even besides his special ability, another thing that you guys saw that he does that is really really cool is the fact that he uses weapons. Like he uses like guns.
Yeah, he had a gun. That was cool.
Yeah, he had two of them. He had 2 of them. So I just think that's like super cool to get like somebody that's like not necessarily focusing on a sword, and maybe that tells you that he's just not that skilled with a sword, so he had to like go another method. But I think we will find out more about him, wanting to be strong like his brother. Because I think they even reference that, he references on his own in this episode like his brother.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have put it together, but his brother is the wind pillar, so he wants to be like his brother, but I don't think he's on that level.
Yeah, but that was one of the exciting things for me because yes, I'm kind of leaning towards the theory that maybe somewhat of his power has to do with like being demon something. But it was just cool to see that because like there's another guy that Tanjiro's already having like a positive effect on, right? This kid wants nothing to do with Tanjiro whatsoever, and Tanjiro is just like wholeheartedly just looking out for him. That ultimately, like I feel like yes, once he gets him on his side and gets him to kind of really, see everything for what it is, he's gonna be pretty awesome because then he's gonna be not only on the good side, which he is already, but then he's gonna be friendlier. And I don't know, but yeah. Anyway, so that was just a little minor thing, but yeah, no, the demons were definitely my favorite part, especially that. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, as I said, like, well, keep in mind that Genya, at the end of the episode, we saw that he got stabbed by one of the demons that he
Oh
decapitated and
yeah.
grew a
Oh
body
yeah.
back. So it's just like, is he out of the picture already? Again, man, this episode started so strong. And in the beginning of the season, I was so confident that they could overpower two upper demons on their own, just based on the amount of people they have in the village. But like now, I'm like, dude, they're totally like fuck. Like the mist pillars, like he got blown so far away.
Oh
Yeah.
Which was that part was so cool, man. When he like did the little leaf, and then it's like, dude, he got hit with the full power of that attack.
So you have one demon that's a jar demon. We'll call him the jar demon because he has the jars, and he
Yeah.
basically can create
Oh, he's a
giant
base
fish.
demon, right? Like
Yeah,
base.
I mean, oh yeah, basis. There you go.
Yeah.
But he
or
basically
Boss.
like he got a boss. Okay, the boss demon. But he basically can like get giant ass monster fishes or like out of bosses or like see now you got me saying boss or you have like live body sucking vases because remember that was the first thing that we saw where it was just a vase was sitting
Oh,
there and that
dude.
one swordsmith was coming down and he's like what's this if anything I don't remember it being here but let me get out of the way it's a hazard and the next thing you know sucks them up completely and spits them out so you have him who can clearly have some crazy powers with replicating things out of his vases and then you have freaking Mr. The other guy the guy who's like looks so pitiful and so whiny and then you
Duplicity.
find out and you find out he freaking duplicates like multiplies like that's crazy and then
How
not
do you
only
kill
that
him?
and remember and even Tanjiro right away was like oh my god don't do it because he replicates like well I mean it's a theory of his right but he replicates younger and like you
And
know
stronger.
stronger yeah so even just putting that idea into your head you're like oh man every other form is going to be nuts.
The one thing that kind of caught me with surprise when Tanjiro cut the leg of that one demon, and that even replicated. I'm like, fuck! Like I'm like, so you can't even cut like any kind of limb because they'll start replicating off of that. That's just like, how do you fight something that you can't even cut, like not even a finger?
No,
It's like fighting a Hydra.
yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
And,
Yes.
and Tanjiro caught on right away because right away he's like, "Oh, well, if it's not the head, he has to have another vital spot." But even me rewatching it the second time, like I snuck in a second view in there, and I still couldn't even think of like, I mean, obviously it could be anything, but I couldn't think of what could have possibly in his vital spot. I mean, they only decapitated him mostly, and then yes, like when he did cut off his arm or whatever at the end, or his talon when he was like that eagle form. But he was crazy, man. Just his powers, and I think when he was that bird form, I loved his like power of like shooting that ray of light or that
Yeah.
beam of light because that was so like that was so
Like
crazy.
a
Like just the,
spirit bomb.
yeah, like a spirit. Yo, but like the visuals, like they're up in the sky, and then out of nowhere, it just opens his mouth and just this
Yeah.
freaking light bomb, and then Tanjiro's face gets all bloody and like it's
Yeah.
pulsating, and I just remember watching that, and I just again one of those moments where you're just watching it with your mouth open, like like what's gonna happen? Like you said, then he falls to the bottom, the ground. He has the one leg attached, and then ultimately it's another head, and it does it again, and my question is, who's gonna save Tanjiro at that point, right?
Well, no, well, dude, yeah, like if Tanjiro had not cut off his leg, dude, I strongly believe that if he had gotten that attack full on, like full, like without him having to cut off the leg, like it would have probably like exploded his body. So that was like something that I would have had kind of like had loved to see, but thankfully he was able to cut the leg off.
Wait, what? But now what though, right? Because like the one Hashira, like he's already distracted helping out the little kid with the fish
Yeah.
vase, right? And then you have Nezuko and the guy with the mohawk. They're busy too. Like, well, he just got impaled. So like in my head, I mean, oh, we started missing one Hashira, right? We're missing the love Hashira.
Yeah, but she left
Maybe.
the town supposedly. Yeah, it's like according to her, like that was like her last night, when the first time they met. So I don't even know where she's at currently.
Who do you
Yeah,
think,
I'm
bro? Who's
guessing
gonna
she's
save
still
him?
there.
Maybe it's
I'm
the
also
buff swordsmith.
But
no.
they got these.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they got these birds that can pass information pretty fast. So I don't
yeah,
know.
the
Maybe the
crows.
birds come in. Yeah, the crows. well,
Yeah.
well, Senetsu doesn't have a crow.
Yeah.
No, dude, and something that again, this is not spoilers because I really can't confirm this, but the one thing that I caught was that anytime that the demons would split into new demons, it wasn't like this was like a brand new form that they have never encountered them like each other. Like they were almost talking about like, oh, like I can't believe I'm stuck with you. So like they knew each other and they knew each other's names or each other's personalities. So I was wondering like, you know did you guys at any point sense that maybe these could be emotions? Like that one, maybe one of them is like the
Oh.
angry emotion, one of them is
Yeah.
like the sad emotion. And again, I could be truly wrong on this because I don't even know what kind of emotion the bird would be. But it's like that's something that I kind of started thinking about. I'm like, oh, was one of them a little bit more angry than the other? Could that be what we're seeing, representations of this demon's feelings come out of him?
Now that you mention it,
Yeah.
uh,
So yeah, the first time that I saw it, um, yeah, like I noticed that because it was like after he got decapitated, the two new ones, it was like anger, and then I forgot what the other one was. But like it was completely different emotions because he wasn't scared anymore. And then after they got like decapitated, it seemed like there's probably new personalities. So that I kind of wonder like how much of a metaphor like this is gonna be for like dissociative identity disorder, because like
Yeah.
people that have that, they kind of create these other personalities like as a
Mm.
defense mechanism so that they can like different
Dude,
personalities, or people can take different things. So I kind of wonder how much of that
no,
is
dude.
the
Yeah, and again, I'm
thing.
not trying to like I read the manga. It was 2 years ago, but I cannot recall everything, little single thing about that demon. And obviously, like seeing the battles play out in real life are going to be totally different. Like I told you guys, like I saw the Mist Pillar, like how he would fight in a manga panel, but like now seeing it in live action, I'm like, dude, that one move that he did was so fucking cool. The way it was just kind of like the whole room got all of a sudden like in smoke, and then he just flashed forward. Like
Yeah.
to me,
yeah.
it's just something that the manga panels are never gonna give you, that representation. Um, so like again, like I think now that I'm watching it, I'm trying to like piece together like what these demons are all about, because I mean they have to have some kind of gimmick in order to be able to defeat them. So I'm even myself like I'm back in that position where I'm like, how do you defeat a demon like this? How do you defeat a demon that's going to constantly be splitting into different things? And like in my head again, I only kind of imagine that maybe they do show personalities. And what you just said, Ro, like that made 100% sense. And I feel like maybe that is with what I said and what you said combined, I feel like that is the way this demon's we're gonna find out that he works.
And the only thing I gotta add to that is I do remember, I think it was the demon who ultimately took him up to the sky. His tongue said joy.
No
So
way.
yeah.
How do you
So
know
I
that?
mean,
Was it in Japanese or was it like?
well, I know Japanese guys. No, I wish, but no, I know you know how it reads off the subtitle.
Yeah.
It read
Yeah.
off joy. He was like yelling or saying something, and his tongue was sticking out, and it said joy. And I'm like, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, as soon as you guys mentioned the whole thing about like the emotions, and then I started going back and seeing, yeah, like that very first one that got split up, he was very angry. The other one was very joyous, so maybe it was like happy and anger. And then the more that he split up, yeah, but yeah, one of them definitely said joy on his tongue.
Dude,
So
dude, that's one my thing. I want to say real quick. I don't want
yeah.
to I don't want to crap on the show, but when I was watching in Funimation, anytime that one of the demons would get introduced and it would say like upper demon at the top, or it would say the demon's name,
Oh
they were
yeah.
they were talking at the same time. So Funimations was only putting the name of the upper ranked demon at the top, and whatever they were
Oh
saying was not
no.
was
Yeah.
was not being translated at the bottom. So I was not able to tell anytime they would speak when the upper ranked thing was at the top. I'm like, what are they saying? Like I just totally missed. Like that guy was speaking for like a minute or 30 seconds. I like have no subtitles to what he said.
Yeah, no, I could see that being a pain in the butt because yeah, I'm watching it through Crunchyroll. Thanks Alexis, by the way, my little buddy. But yeah, no, for real, it's like it's like yeah, it'll give you both because it does, especially every time that those upper ranks come out,
And
it'll tell you upper rank 3 or it'll tell you 3 or 4, and then it'll have on the bottom, I'll have the subtitles. But
so
you're right because I would have missed that too.
So I think that's what Raul and me missed, because I know when the sword whatever talked, there was something he was saying, and then his name at the top was being was not like, and whatever words were coming out of his mouth were not being like subtitles. So I have no idea what he said. So like that's something on Funimations that they need to get their shit together, because I will not be paying
Hey.
$12 a month for this kind of
Well,
stuff.
technically, Crunchyroll needs to get their shit together because Crunchyroll owns Funimation now.
Oh God.
Well, in that point, why didn't you have the same freaking formats, like subtitle
I don't
formats?
know.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing, but I'm sorry, guys. No, yeah. So yeah, he did one time. He did stick out his tongue, and it did say joy. I promise you, because I rewatched it like 3 times. I'm like, wait, joy, what? And then I saw the tongue come out. I'm like, oh, it's on the tongue. So
And also, and with that being said, too, thank you, Brian, for the Funimation account as well.
Oh God. Well,
let's be realistic.
I hope whatever you guys are saying can never be used in the court. So
No. Like I paid for it. Oh,
Hey,
not
as
you.
long as
I went halfsies.
as long as
Oh,
we're not saying
yeah,
Netflix and sharing accounts, then we're good. It's Netflix is the one that I'm worried about.
yeah, no.
I pay for my own Netflix.
Like, well, I mean, I do too. I'm just saying, like, who else
Yeah.
doesn't that I provided to? No one Netflix. It's just me and my wife and the 4 other people that live in the house.
Yeah. It's the one household.
Yeah.
Something that I found kind of hilarious in this episode is like from now on, anytime that Nezuko becomes like serious, she's always gonna get to that evolution where like she has bigger breasts, and that's the way you tell that she's like in a serious level form. And I'm like, oh god, like is that why they did it? So they could tell us like, oh, when her breasts get bigger, that's when she's 100% powered up and ready to go into battle. I'm like, this is so ridiculous.
Well, this time it was a little bit more subtle because Mr. Freaking awesome, wholehearted Tanjiro was braiding her hair, and then you saw that she powered up when her hair became unbraided. I'm like, oh yes, it's freaking Nezuko-san.
Oh, I didn't even notice the fact that it
See,
was
No.
unbraided.
details, man. Yeah.
The thing that I did notice was the horn that she had.
Oh, okay, you horny person. Yeah. No, but yeah. The braids. It's just because again, I was admiring it. I used to do this for my sister when we were growing up. I used to braid her hair, and it's one of those things that like I really thought that was a cute emotional. Right, Carlos? You mentioned that earlier. That earlier in another podcast that we had done, another episode, that how like they weren't showing their like sibling love as much like the season so far, and this was it, man. It was like Tanjiro like braiding her hair and basically like having a little like bonding time. And yeah, so when those braids came undone, you knew it was serious.
No,
No,
and
definitely.
I was
No, the only thing I was
the
gonna say.
the one thing that it did remind me of when like after he finished braiding her hair was she kind of reminded me of the medical captain from Bleach too. The
Oh,
the,
okay, yeah,
the
Hashira.
Kenpachi before Kenpachi. Yeah.
Well,
No,
he did
don't.
say. Go ahead.
Okay, no, the only thing I want to say real quick is that, I'm not going to say no funny taglines or anything, but if anybody's listening to us, we do these recordings weekly, sometimes bi-weekly. So if you're enjoying us, we're definitely going to be doing a lot more Demon Slayer because stuff is going to about to get really, really serious. So please, if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple, subscribe, 5 stars, please. We just got up on YouTube, so I'm going to make it a priority to upload this on YouTube as soon as I can because, as soon as we're doing these newer episodes, I want to get them uploaded everywhere. So again, please continue to support us, and I appreciate it that it's still, listening 42 minutes into this conversation.
Hey, we could even give you a little how to braid tutorial. I got you. You wouldn't trust me if you saw the video in my picture. Like I have no hair. I'm bald, but I can braid some hair. Got you.
You can braid
But
a
no,
beard.
yeah. Oh, I mean, if I ever get Raul, you got a nice little size. I got you. Come over here.
Well, yeah, his
But
beard, yeah.
but no,
Oh my God, Carlos.
but Tanjiro, my boy Tanjiro
Yeah.
did say that he was braiding Nezuko's hair to be like her idol, which was the Love Hashira. I don't
The
know if you
Love
guys
Hashira.
caught that. That was
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah. No, dude, I'm actually excited for the Love Hashira because again, manga versus actually seeing in live action. I bet you maybe when she comes into play, her sword abilities are going to be incredible. So I really can't wait to see how that's going to be getting animated. For some reason, I'm picturing she's going to be like slashing the sword because we've seen the intro, so we know that her sword sort of like works like a whip. So I just feel like there's going to be like a bunch of whips on screen and then a bunch of hearts. So I don't know. It might be like really cute and colorful. So I'm not even being like jokingly. I actually cannot wait till I see how her attacks are being put on screen. So that makes me a little bit excited for the next couple of episodes.
I think there's nothing wrong with saying that we're excited about the cuteness about this show in general. Because again, when I recommend Demon Slayer to people, I always talk about how wholehearted it is, like how wholesome it is, how much fun it is. Because you get again this juxtaposition of like cuteness and silliness. Like sometimes they're just like super funny. Like when Tanjiro and the little swordsmith were having like these interactions, it was funny, it was cute, especially after he uncovers the sword and he's like, you should have it, and Tanjiro's like red, like so excited. He's like, no, I can't. And the boy's like, you can. And so you get those moments, and then they're like juxtaposed with these freaking decapitations and blood all over the place, and like, you know, sword slashes, like synchronized sword slashes, like Tanjiro and that Hashira, like they went, you know, at the same time. They were so synchronized. Like, you know, you just get these beautiful, beautiful moments. But I don't know. I do get excited about these possibilities of more cuteness when you add the love Hashira into it too.
No, dude, and I mean, I like how, you know, Tanjiro has experience fighting this demon, so like right away he was able to tell Tokido like, "Hey, don't let your guard down just because you cut this guy's head." And you know that experience is kind of like playing a big part into this season. So I just can't wait to see how they're gonna get out of these situations, man. Because like right now, from what I can tell, they're facing 6 demons from just the upper 4. And then you have the one base demon that's doing who knows what, and it has what kind of demons running around the town. So it's just like the next episode might be way too much, honestly, on screen, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. Well, anything else, Ro, before we get going on this episode?
Let me think. The other thing that I also noticed is that you really don't see a lot of the other swordsmiths so far. Like all that you've seen was that one kid swordsmith that was with the fish, and then
Yeah.
with the Hashira, and then like the demon slayers, and then the 2 demons. So like I wonder how many of the swordsmiths are kind of still around, or if any of
Yeah.
them were, or how many of them were killed before
Yeah, because
they even showed up to
yeah,
get them
because when
killed.
Genya went to look for his sword, like he's like, "Hey, where's the swordsmith at?" So something lets
Yeah.
me to believe, man, that this whole assassination process has already started, and we're gonna find out that if not half, most of the village has already been assassinated or killed by the base demon. I think because I think that's his job. I think the base demon's the job to like destroy or kill all the swordsmiths, while the upper four moon is actually handling, you know, these demon slayers because they're the ones that can actually put up a fight against them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wonder because considering the village, I wonder like if there's any other demon slayers there. Like I'm sure like not many are of like importance to the actual show, but besides the ones that we've already seen, and then the love Hashira, whenever I'm sure she'll show up again. But I wonder if there's any others from any other thing as well.
Oh God, could you imagine a love Hashira never showed up?
No.
But she's in the opening
But she's on
credits.
the intro. Yeah, I was like, she's on
Yeah.
the
She's on the
intro and the
intro.
outro. Well, no, I mean, I guess that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for, yeah, like full blown battle going down, like multiple fights at once, because I think it's just crazy. Oh no, actually, what I'm the most excited about is to kind of see what's up with Genya, and what he actually does and what his thing. Like, I'm still really curious about that because he's an ally. So obviously, you love to have people, and right now that Tanjiro doesn't have Zenitsu or Nasuke, like I kind of like
Yeah.
I need someone else to be on his side, and you know he's pretty badass. He has those little shotgun pistols, and I think they even mentioned
Ooh.
something about how they're made of the same material as some of the swords, and I don't know.
Oh
There's just a whole
yeah.
thing. There's a whole thing to him that I'm like, how did you get to carry a pistol? Let's go, like,
I
but I
know.
don't care. Yeah,
It's kind of funny that they make it a point to say that because you know that only Demon Slayer swords can truly decapitate a demon, so they have to
yeah,
say that to
yeah.
make it believe that like a weapon could work instead of a sword. So it's like it's kind of cool, man. It's kind of cool that it makes you think that it's like, hey, if they have not been able to replicate this robot in 300 years, but all of a sudden they can come up with like pistol weapons. Like, why can you guys come up with pistol weapons but not recreate this mechanical robot? But bro, I'm not the expert on mechanical robots. You are, so mechanical doll. So if you say it's not possible in 300 years to replicate a mechanical doll, I believe you.
I did not say that the dummies were mechanical. They were just like padded dummies.
I'm sure you figured out a way to make them move a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, by
All right,
throwing them,
guys.
but
Well, this has been Carlos. Ro,
Ramon.
yeah, Ro, say goodbye, say good night, buddy. But I will talk to you guys soon.
Hey, see ya.
Bye.